Footage of a large, broad-shouldered figure moving through the trees was captured right up close. A massive predator swims just beneath the surface, dragging a bloated cow carcass through the water. And on Navajo land in Arizona, a strange figure was caught on camera. Locals say it matches stories that go back generations. These are cryptids caught clearly on camera in 2025. Well, you wanted clear footage of a cryptid. Here it is. It's not often we get supposed Sasquatch footage this clear and up close. Usually these videos are shot from a distance and the creature is almost impossible to make out. I know I say this almost every time I show a Bigfoot video, but understand that I sift through a lot of garbage and I just don't bother putting most of these videos on lists like this because these videos aren't meant to put you to sleep. Although if you use them for that, I'm not offended. Close your eyes, go back to bed. Is this video genuine though? I mean, how can I say for sure? I do like it, I'll say that. There's more going on here than a monkey suit from Party City. This thing looks to have some bulk to it. There's color variation in the fur. If it is a hoax, I think it's pretty well done. Well, this is a freaky piece of footage. Not only is there a massive dead cow floating through the water, there's something under it. Gonna guess that something was involved in the death of the cow. I mean, good lord, look at the size of this thing. There's a full-on dinosaur swimming in this river. Of course, this is a croc or a gator. I couldn't actually find where this video was filmed, but the thing is an absolute beast. I know, very insightful of me. Take a look at this strange photo. Picture was snapped on Navajo land between cornfields and Greasewood, Arizona. It's been making the rounds on social media lately. According to the person who shared it, her aunt snapped the picture at the end of a small canyon after hearing weird noises while tending livestock on her property. There's not much more info about it, other than claims that the creature was seen again a few days later. The family chose not to go after it. They figured it was best to just leave it alone. Wise. Apparently stories about creatures like this have been told in the area for generations though. What do you think of this one? Only explanation that I have outside of this being a genuine Sasquatch, of course, is a black bear. There are black bears in Arizona. I'm not sure if they frequent this specific area. If anyone from Arizona can enlighten me in the comments, that would be great. A video from Buenos Aires this week has gotten people talking about possible demons or something strange. Very strange. This short blurry clip that's been getting shared around quite a bit on social media, at least on the forums I check out, shows what looks like a street or garden in Argentina. Here we can see some sort of bizarre dark figure crawling on all fours toward the camera while a few dogs walk around in the background. The creature seems to have very long spindly limbs, but it's hard to see clearly because it's dark and the video quality isn't really the best. Local news says this happened in the town of Saladillo, and people living there are reportedly scared of whatever it was. Some witnesses have called it demonic and say it has inhuman agility that lets it climb walls and jump between trees. A local firefighter who didn't want to give his name said that, quote, something was going on. Another witness added, he's something big. He doesn't walk on all fours, he walks backwards. He's disjointed, he comes apart, his head is upside down while his body moves in an impossible way. All of that said in Spanish, of course.
In our number 5 spot today, we have the Maracoxy, a mysterious group of large, hairy, ape-like humanoids that bear a striking resemblance to the legendary Bigfoot. Standing taller than any known primate, these creatures are said to be covered in thick fur with eyes that pierce through the dense jungle foliage. Locals speak of eerie encounters where menacing figures watched from the shadows, emanating guttural sounds that sent chills down the spine. Highly territorial, the Maracoxy are believed to be fiercely protective of their domain. Those who unknowingly cross into their territory risk facing aggressive displays or even outright attacks. There are unsettling stories of explorers and hunters who ventured too far and vanished without a trace, their disappearances attributed to these elusive beings. Some speculate that the Maracoxy could be a lost branch of the evolutionary tree, or perhaps a primitive tribe shrouded in secrecy. Could there be truth to these stories, hiding just beyond the edge of the known world? In our number 4 spot today, we have the Sakuriju Gigante. Deep within the shadowy waters of the Amazon, legends speak of the Sucuriju gigante, a serpent of unimaginable proportions that makes even the largest known anacondas seem like mere garter snakes. This isn't just another tall tale. Locals swear by sightings of this behemoth, describing a creature so massive it can coil itself around entire boats and drag them under without a ripple left behind. Fishermen share whispered stories of ripples that grow into waves, of enormous scales glimpsed just beneath the water's surface, and of friends who ventured into certain parts of the river, never to return. The jungle teems with unexplained disappearances and eerie accounts of livestock vanishing from riverbanks overnight. Could a snake of such colossal size truly evade scientific discovery, or is this just a manifestation of the Amazon's untamed spirit? Either way, the mere possibility keeps even the bravest souls a little weary, reminding us that some depths are better left unexplored. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Sachamama. In the deepest reaches of the Amazon rainforest, where the trees tower like ancient guardians, stories emerge about the Sachamama, the mother of the jungle. This isn't merely a snake, but a colossal serpent so immense that over time, the forest has grown over her, with trees and vines intertwining across her massive form. Travelers speak of moments where the jungle falls eerily silent and a strange tranquility washes over them. It's then that they realize they're standing upon something that's not Earth, but the scaled back of the Sachamama herself. Despite her seemingly immobile state, she possesses a hypnotic power that can entrance anyone who wanders too close, trapping them in an eternal spell. Those ensnared are said to become one with the jungle, their stories ending where the Sachamama's begins. Is she a benevolent protector of the wild, or a lurking danger awaiting the next unsuspecting soul? In our number 2 spot today, we have Latunda. Among the many eerie tales that echo through the Amazon rainforest, the legend of Latunda sends shivers down the spine like no other. Originating from Afro-Ecuadorian lore, this shape-shifting vampiric creature is said to prowl the jungle, searching for unsuspecting victims. Latunda has a terrifying ability. It can perfectly mimic the appearance and voice of a loved one, be it a family member, a close friend, or even a romantic interest. Everything seems normal, but there's always something subtly off that hints at the imposter beneath the facade. Luring people deeper into the tangled heart of the forest, Latunda isolates them from any chance of rescue. It's in this remote wilderness that she reveals her true form, draining the life force of her victims to sustain her own existence. Stories tell of people who followed a familiar face into the trees, only to disappear without a trace. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the black jaguar. Amidst the labyrinth of vines and towering trees in the Amazon, tales abound of the black jaguar, known locally as the jaguar negro. This isn't your average big cat, it's a mystical, melanistic jaguar said to be larger than any ever documented. Cloaked in fur so dark it seems to absorb the light, this elusive predator moves through the jungle like a shadow-given form. Locals whisper that its eyes glow with an otherworldly light, piercing the inky darkness of the forest nights. Believed to possess supernatural powers, the black jaguar is more than just an animal. It's considered an omen of death. Hunters who have attempted to track this creature often vanish without a trace, fueling stories that it can traverse between the physical world and the spiritual realm. Some say it guards the secrets of the jungle, ensuring that its mysteries remain untouched by human hands. Whether rooted in reality or born from cautionary tales, these creatures embody the perils that can befall those who venture unprepared into the unknown. Exploration is a human instinct, but some secrets of the Amazon might be best left undisturbed. Alright, starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Yakumama. Deep in the winding currents of the Amazon River, stories persist about the Yakumama, the legendary mother of water. This isn't your average fish tale. We're talking about a serpent of unimaginable proportions, said to reach lengths of up to 160 feet. Locals believe this colossal creature lurks near the river's mouth, waiting silently beneath the surface. The most unsettling part? The Yakumama is rumored to have the power to suck in anything within a 100-foot radius. Boats vanish without a ripple, and unsuspecting victims are pulled under, leaving nothing but questions behind. Some think it's the river's way of protecting itself, a guardian ensuring that only the respectful may pass. Is there a mammoth serpent hiding in those depths, or are these stories meant to keep thrill seekers at bay? In our number 9 spot today, we have El Tunchi. Walking through the dense Amazon rainforest, travelers might hear a haunting whistle that seems to come from all directions at once. This is El Tunchi, a malevolent spirit said to manifest as an eerie sound echoing through the jungle. Locals warn that the whistle isn't just unsettling, it's a lure. Those who follow it are drawn deeper into the labyrinth of trees and shadows. People who disrespect the jungle, taking more than they need or harming its creatures, are particularly at risk. Many have ventured towards that mysterious sound only to vanish without a trace. Is it just the wind playing tricks, or could there truly be a vengeful spirit guarding the heart of the Amazon? Either way, the legend of El Tunchi adds an unsettling layer to the already mysterious rainforest, reminding us that some paths are better left unexplored. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Mapinguari. Deep within the untamed depths of the Amazon rainforest, locals speak in hushed tones about the Mapinguari, a creature that challenges the boundaries between myth and reality. This towering figure is described as a giant, covered in thick, matted hair that conceals most of its grotesque features. But the most unsettling detail, a gaping mouth right in the middle of its stomach, lined with sharp teeth ready to devour anything or anyone that crosses its path. With claws long enough to carve through tree trunks, the Mapinguari is said to roam the jungle with a fierce sense of territory. Those who've caught a whiff of its presence describe an overpowering stench so vile it can bring a grown person to their knees. Stories tell of unfortunate souls who ventured too far and encountered this beast, never to return. Could this be a surviving remnant of prehistoric times? Perhaps a giant ground sloth that evaded extinction? Or is it a cautionary tale woven to keep explorers wary of the rainforest's hidden dangers? In our number 7 spot today, we have Encantado. Amid the winding rivers and dense foliage of the Amazon, tales abound of the Encantado, a creature as captivating as it is dangerous. Locals speak of these shapeshifters who often take the form of sleek river dolphins, known for their intelligence and mysterious aura. But when the sun dips below the horizon, the Encantado is said to emerge from the water as an irresistibly seductive human, blending effortlessly into nearby villages. With enchanting music and charm that can bewitch even the most guarded hearts, they draw people into their spell. The real peril begins when an Encantado fixates on someone, leading them to the river's edge. Victims are either pulled into the depths, never to surface again, or left with a haunting madness that defies explanation. Stories circulate of festival nights where a stranger's captivating gaze led to a person's disappearance by morning. Could these beings be spirits guarding the secrets of the river, or are they something far more sinister? The legend of the Encantado adds an alluring yet ominous chapter to the rich folklore of the Amazon, reminding us that not all that glitters under the moonlight is benign. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Chulachaki. Stories circulate among Amazonian villages about the Chulachaki, a mysterious entity said to roam the depths of the rainforest. This dwarf-like being has a chilling talent. It can perfectly mimic the appearance and voice of a loved one. People recount instances where they heard a familiar call from the tree line, only to see a friend or family member beckoning them deeper into the woods. Something feels slightly off. A mismatched shoe perhaps, or an unusual gait, but curiosity often overcomes caution. Once the Chulachaki has lured its victim away from the beaten path, the forest seems to shift and change, leaving them hopelessly lost. Many believe that the Chulachaki is the guardian of the jungle, fiercely protecting it from those who would do it harm.
Number 5, devil monkeys. So yeah, it seems like there are all kinds of hairy apes and monkeys in Ohio as well. Who would have guessed? You got Grassman, who may or may not be Bigfoot, the hairy orange-eyed creature we talked about in part 1, and now this baboon-looking beast. The devil monkey is a cryptid that is believed to inhabit the forests and rural areas of North America, described as a large, aggressive primate-like creature with gray or black fur and red eyes. The devil monkey is known for its terrifying appearance and alleged attacks on humans and domestic animals. There have been numerous reports of sightings of the creature in Ohio and other parts of the US. Witnesses have described encountering a large bipedal creature that stands on 2 legs and resembles a monkey or baboon with a fierce expression and a tendency to attack without provocation. There are many folks that are convinced that the devil monkey is a real creature, and sightings continue to be reported until this day. Some cryptozoologists speculate that the devil monkey may be a new species of primate that is yet to be officially recognized, while others believe it could be a surviving member of a prehistoric primate species that was previously thought to be extinct. The Trumbull County UFO incident. Next up, we have a well-documented UFO sighting. There have been multiple UFO sightings in the state of Ohio, dating back a long ways, but this one is from 1994. I don't see why aliens wouldn't want to observe Ohio. Seems like there's a lot going on, as you could probably tell from these lists. They were hovering around, placing bets on what creature they'd spot first. Lots to choose from. There were tons of witnesses to this odd event on December 14th, 1994. Citizens, multiple police officers, dispatchers. It was pretty significant. Multiple residents had reported seeing low flying lights in the sky. The first police officer on the scene, Sergeant Toby Malero, had a pretty odd incident. As he was moving closer to the odd lights in the sky, talking with the dispatcher the entire time, his radio suddenly stopped working and his vehicle just shut off before he was engulfed in a bright light from above. He exited his vehicle, not quite knowing how to go about this odd occurrence, and reported seeing a giant circular shaped object hovering in the sky, which apparently made no sound. Once the object flew away, his car and radio, bam, started working again. 14 other law enforcement officers also saw these mysterious UFOs that night, with one even climbing up on a radar tower for a better view, and then claimed to have seen 3 circular flying objects that changed color in unison. Number 3, Helltown. So while this one is a place and not actually a cryptid per se, it is reported to be an incredibly strange and dangerous place where all sorts of spooky happenings occur. Helltown has been left behind, now an abandoned town where nothing but empty homes, cathedrals, and unused bridges still stand, though there are some who are said to still reside there, such as ghosts, mutant animals, and cultists. The residents of the town formerly known as Boston, Ohio, had been forced to leave their homes in 1974 when President Gerald Ford signed a bill that gave the federal government's National Park Service jurisdiction to expropriate land for establishment of natural parks. The NPS began buying up properties, and eventually it was a ghost town. In the mid-80s, there were several chemical spills in Helltown that some believed resulted in the mutated animals spotted in the area. And apparently there's also a haunted school bus and stuff like that. Interesting place to go, I'd imagine. And at number 2, we have Octoman. On a cold Cincinnati night in January of 1959, police began receiving several reports of a strange octopus-like creature. It started with a man who called police in a panic, saying that he saw something come out of the river, calling it completely indescribable. This report was followed by one from a truck driver just soon after, claiming to have seen a strange creature while driving into Cincinnati. More and more reports began coming in, but it was hard for anyone to describe exactly what they were seeing. What police did note, however, was that the people calling about these encounters sounded pretty shaken up. Even though the police kind of didn't believe it, they were joking a little bit, that was one thing they did know. These people sounded like they did see something. The more reports that came in as well, the closer they would get to form a description of the creature. A very large creature with grayish skin, tentacles, and a lopsided chest. Sounds like a pretty attractive creature there. One person was stated as saying, "It was large, not a dog or a cat. It leaped in front of my car and on two legs and it was taller than the auto. When I looked back in my mirror, it was moving along the bridge rail. It was 3 or 4 times the size of a man and much bulkier. I have an eye in mind for dimensions, and I know it was huge." And coming in at number 1 is the Peninsula Python. Now, this is a really interesting one because it really did exist. Sure, it's not really a cryptid per se, but this was an incident that actually took place, and it's pretty wild stuff. The summer of 1944, people in Summit County, Ohio began spotting a massive-sized python in Cuyahoga Valley National Park. It was reported being around 15 feet in length and incredibly thick. It was a python, definitely a real animal. It was just in the wrong part of the world, that's all. It's still kind of a mystery as to how it got there, but it's rumored that it was being transported through the area, possibly for a circus or something, but managed to escape. Residents were understandably pretty scared that summer as the giant snake roamed through farms, leaving giant tire-sized indents in its wake. It even attacked livestock. The python was also never found, just disappeared eventually. Most likely died curled up somewhere after succumbing to the Ohio winter though. And we're starting it off today with pukwudgies. The pukwudgie is a creature from Native American folklore that is said to inhabit the forests of the northeastern United States. According to legend, pukwudgies are mischievous tricksters who can cause harm to humans if they are angered or offended. There have been a number of reported sightings of the creatures throughout Ohio. According to folklore, pukwudgies are small, humanoid creatures that stand about 2 to 3 feet tall. They are said to have gray skin, large ears, and a large nose. Some legends also describe them as having quills or spines on their backs. They're believed to be skilled hunters and are said to use their magical powers to disappear and reappear at will. They're also said to have the ability to shapeshift into animals or objects. In some Native American traditions, pukwudgies are viewed as protectors of the forest and are said to have the power to ward off evil spirits. However, in other legends, pukwudgies are seen as mischievous troublemakers who enjoy playing pranks on humans. So if you do happen to see one, prepare to be clowned. Next on the list, we have the cedar bog monster. Now, this is one of those cryptids that could very well be a Sasquatch, or of course, a grassman as it's known locally in Ohio. It's more of a name given to the specific place this creature was seen though. When Cedar Bog opened as a nature preserve in 1942, people immediately began flocking to the area to witness the various species of birds, the fish and plants, and just soak in the nature. But what they didn't expect or want to see was a large, hairy humanoid creature, but many did report seeing the big ape-like creature strolling along Woodburn Road, which runs right beside the bog. They reported that whatever the thing was too large to be a man. I'm also sure the fur and gorilla-like face kinda gave that away too, possibly. There was also an incident where 3 teenagers went missing in the park while on a camping trip. Apparently, there were reports of loud screams coming from Cedar Bog. At number 8, we have the Charles Mills Lake Monster. Now, there's only one reported encounter with this creature, but it's a pretty eerie story. On the night of March 28th, 1959, 1959 is going to come up a lot on this list, by the way. I don't know what it was about that year, but there was some stuff going on in Ohio. Anyway, 3 teenage boys had been hanging out around the Charles Mill Reservoir when they suddenly saw something forming out of the dark water before them. It was a 7-foot-tall humanoid that began moving towards them. It was described as having no arms, bright glowing green eyes, and webbed feet. The teens obviously booked it out of there and reported what they saw to authorities, who made their way to the area, where they came across footprints, if you could even describe whatever made the tracks as feet. They were large indents that appeared as if they were made by webbed feet. Who knows what this thing was? Even if it was real or just a hoax, there was indeed a large fishy monster skulking around the lake. I'm guessing it must have smelt like a sewer. Number 7, alien big cats. Alien big cats are a very real thing. These are big cats like panthers or leopards found outside of their natural environments. The alien part doesn't mean that these cats are from outer space, but then again, who knows how they got there, right? In 2011, there were several sightings of supposed alien big cats in and around Dayton, Ohio. A private zoo owner by the name of Terry Thompson had released upwards of 50 animals into the wild before unfortunately taking his own life in October of 2011, which resulted in, of course, several reports of large cats spotted throughout the area. 48 of them were either put under by police or sent off to Columbus Zoo. There had been reports of alien big cat sightings before these animals were known to be released though, which is strange. Multiple sightings of black panthers dating back to April of 2011, and police would continue investigating sightings until around April of 2012. Phantom kangaroos. Alright, so we have big cats being reported in Ohio, so now we're moving on to kangaroos. Ohio is just full of dangerous wildlife, apparently. The phantom kangaroo is a cryptid that is said to resemble a kangaroo or wallaby and is believed to inhabit various parts of the world, including the United States. Basically, again, these are kangaroos showing up in places they shouldn't be, like Ohio. Except the stranger part is that these phantom kangaroos have been spotted where no escaped kangaroos have been reported. The creature is known for its elusive nature, as well as its ability to seemingly disappear without a trace and leave no evidence behind, almost like a ghost. A phantom kangaroo, if you will. Some experts believe that these sightings may be the result of misidentifications, of course, of other animals like large domestic dogs or coyotes, but I don't know, maybe there's some kangies running around Ohio. This dude just happened to spot a prehistoric wolf in his yard. Yeah, once it runs up to the normal sized dog, we really get the full scope of this thing's size. The thing looks like a dire wolf. Now, this is actually a timber wolf, a huge timber wolf, but a timber wolf all the same. The video was shot in Saskatchewan, and the man who shot it said, "I work as a fishing guide in northern Saskatchewan, and I shot this video on one of our trails around the lodge. We get a lot of bears that come around the lodge, but this year we had a black wolf that started to come around for a few days. We spotted the wolf through the window of the kitchen in the lodge, and I made my way outside with the camera. When I started to take pictures, the wolf left, then returned a few minutes later, and that's when Trigger, his dog, took after the wolf. The wolf waited for Trigger to turn away from him, and that's when he grabbed the dog in the back and threw her up in the air right in front of me. Dan fired into the air, and that broke the fight up. The wolf turned and left. We followed the wolf into the bush and shot again to scare him off. The wolf came back 2 more times that day, looking for the dog, we think. Trigger had a few good wounds and cuts, but she's fine now. This next video is captured in Russia. Take a look at this. The footage is from a remote area in Russia, located between the Ural Mountains and the Volga River, close to the Kazakhstan border. So in the video, we've got a car driving down a dark road. The driver and passengers are chatting in Russian, and if you listen closely, you can clearly hear the word Yeti pop up a few times in their conversation. Now, at first, it sounds like they're just having a normal drive, but then we see what we see about 36 seconds into the clip. This blurry, shadowy figure dashes across the road right in front of the car's headlights. The moment it happens, the car immediately slams to a stop and the engine cuts out. Now, as far as what exactly is in the video, it's hard to say. The figure that dashes across the road is too blurry and fast to make out much detail, plus it's white, so it blends in pretty well with the snow, but from what we can see, it doesn't look like any normal animal or person. Next up, we have another strange video out of Florida. Take a look at this one. The video was shot in Edgewater, Florida. Joe Tiller and his wife April were out on the water near Menard May Park when they recorded a massive creature around 12 to 15 feet long. Now, at first, Joe thought that it was just a big manatee, but something was off about it. He described it saying it had huge muscles like shoulders on a bull. It was as if it was rolling its shoulders like a bear underwater. He also pointed out that they didn't see any fur, head, or limbs though. Tiller, who's lived in the area for 5 years working on boats, said he's never seen anything like this. The creature was even grunting, which freaked him out enough to steer clear when started heading toward a nearby channel. After sharing the video online, it quickly went viral, but no one can agree on what this thing is. Some think it could be a manatee struggling at low tide. Others have even said it could be a black bear crossing the river, but Tiller went on to say, "I can't find any video online that shows manatees to look like this with rolling shoulders." Wow, this is nightmare fuel. I hate how large whatever this thing is, the fact that it looks slightly human, the glowing eyes, all of it is just the last thing I'd ever want to see walking through the forest at night. Not sure where this one comes from originally. If anyone has any more info on it, let me know down in the comments. Alright, I'm gonna finish off with a fun one. In the Mount Rushmore of cryptids, the Loch Ness Monster is right up there with Bigfoot and whoever else you'd want to put on the list. I imagine Mothman would be on there. Anyway, take a look at this. I can't tell you how much I want this to be real. I don't know where this footage comes from originally. All I know is that it looks pretty convincing, but obviously someone made this with some very skillful CGI or AI or whoever knows what eye these days. But I can say this, out of some of the crazier cryptids like the Loveland Frog and the Flatwoods Monster, the idea of a surviving plesiosaur lurking somewhere out there in the vastness of Earth's waters isn't all that hard to believe. I mean, not only did these things actually exist at one point in time, but there's a lot of unexplored water. Who knows what could be out there, really? I highly doubt there's a surviving dinosaur swimming around in Loch Ness, but in other parts of the world where there's more marine life to feast on, sure, maybe. What would you do if you were out on the water and you saw this?
What the is that? Go, I don't know what that is, Dave.
This video was uploaded to the Residual Payments YouTube channel back in 2013, and what's freaky about this one is that you see all this movement on the water on the left side of the screen, and then boom, we get something breaching the water much further away. So was this a pair of creatures, or more horrifyingly, just one big animal? Another thing I love about the video is the audible sounds of fear and panic coming from the couple filming. They sound genuinely shocked and freaked out. The story behind this one is that a woman named Patricia and her fiance Dave had been fishing in Sanibel, Florida on October 6th, 2013, when they spotted something in the water. It was a serpentine creature, longer than their boat, about 20 feet or about 6 meters. They watched as the thing sped through the water before splashing up, looking like it had wrapped itself around something before descending back down into the water. The pair had also lived in Florida all their lives and had seen plenty of dolphins and manatees over the years, stressing that what they encountered here was not a manatee or a dolphin. Just what in the 7 levels of hell is this thing? Not a whole lot of information on this video. All we know is it was shot in Santa Fe, New Mexico back in the summer. Sightings of chupacabra-like creatures have been reported all over New Mexico, and by extension the rest of the southwestern United States, Mexico, and parts of South America. So could this thing be a goat-sucking monster or something else? Some say it looks like a skinwalker mid-transformation or just a very unhealthy looking person. Whatever it is though, if I lived in New Mexico, I'd probably be switching states. I just don't need something like that around me. What do you all think of this one? Genuine? Hoax? Share your thoughts down below. What you're looking at here is known as the Gable film, a piece of footage supposedly capturing a dogman creature on camera. It's a pretty creepy piece of footage. That old film grain quality gives it this very visceral, uneasy feeling about it. There's a lot of mystery behind this one, but the film was supposedly shot in Michigan at some point in the 70s. A man is being filmed on a snowmobile when the camera cuts to a hill. Crouched atop it is a dark, hairy-looking figure which begins bounding towards the camera, and then this happens. The legend of the Dogman dates all the way back to 1887, when a group of lumberjacks in Wexford County reported seeing this huge, hairy creature with the body of a man and the head of a dog. They described it standing on 2 legs, like a person, but with glowing eyes, sharp teeth, and claws. Since then, sightings have popped up all over Michigan, especially in the northern parts of the state. People claim they've spotted this eerie creature prowling the woods, particularly in areas like the Manistee National Forest. It's said to be about 7 feet tall, covered in fur, with the body of a human but the face of a snarling dog. This footage here was supposedly taken at the Roswell crash site. Again, we have a nice, creepy, grainy piece of footage here. Now, if this footage is indeed real, it would have been kept under wraps for a very long time. There was a ton of secrecy surrounding Roswell, but is it possible this footage came from a whistleblower? I definitely love to believe it, but I have my doubts. I've always been fascinated by the Roswell case itself though. We all know the story. In 1947, a mysterious object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. It was described as a flying disc, but then almost overnight the story changed and authorities said it wasn't a flying saucer and that it was a weather balloon. But in the decades since, whistleblowers have come forward saying they know the real story, saying they saw alien bodies being recovered from the crash site. Alien bodies that have been described pretty much exactly like the ones seen in this clip. Now, what exactly are these things? Walking pairs of pants? Well, they've been dubbed the Fresno Nightcrawlers, and they've been captured on camera more than once. The clip here was taken in Yosemite National Park. This next video was actually the first time the creatures were ever caught on camera. Take a look at this. It all started with a man named Jose in Fresno, California. He had a security camera set up outside his house, mostly to keep an eye on his lawn. One night, he was woken up by his dogs barking. He checked the camera footage, and that's when he saw this strange, white, almost ghostly figure walking across his lawn. It was tall, thin, and had long, spindly legs that seemed to glide over the grass. Jose was freaked out and woke up his brother to show him the footage. His brother even said he found small, weird footprints outside, but by the time investigators showed up to check it out, all the evidence had been washed away. Now, the footage that initially blew up online has kind of disappeared. The only remaining video is this grainy clip taken from a monitor. There was another sighting in 2020 in Billings, Montana on a home surveillance system, which also caught footage of these mysterious night crawlers. This one's a lot harder to see, but pay close attention to the dark right-hand corner of the screen. So what are these things? They don't really resemble any known animal, and they definitely don't fit your typical cryptid profile like Bigfoot or Mothman. Some people think they could be extraterrestrial beings or interdimensional creatures, or maybe more ghostly apparitions. But skeptics also say they could just be the result of weird camera glitches or that low quality playing tricks on our eyes. In August of 2023, photographer Shay Kelly dropped a set of images she'd been holding on to since 2018. She and her husband had been having lunch at an inn on Loch Ness when she caught something gliding through the water about 200 meters offshore. Shay said it was moving, quote, right to left at a steady speed, spinning and rolling at times. We never saw a head or neck. After a couple minutes, it just disappeared and we never saw it again, end quote. At first she thought it might be otters or a seal, but it never came up for air again and it just kept moving. Like a serpent, she continued. Steve Feltham, a well-known Nessie hunter who's been at this for over 30 years, called the photos the most exciting surface shots in decades, saying they are the most compelling surface images of the phenomenon. They still defy explanation. The images show two rounded humps rolling through the water. There's no obvious head or neck, but it definitely doesn't look like otters or divers. Whatever this really was, Nessie or a massive eel, these are definitely some of the clearest and most intriguing Nessie photos possibly ever. In mid-2023, farmers near Oruro, Bolivia started spotting something weird roaming their fields. One drone video caught this hunched, dark figure standing upright in a crop field. Carlos Flores, who first spotted it in the footage, said, "It is strange. It looks like a dog, but it has a hump further back. Looking at the images, it has the same position as the chupacabra." Well, this creepy drone footage seemed to trigger fears that the legendary goat sucker had struck again, and a lot of that had to do with the timing of this. Farmers in the area had been finding dead livestock drained of their BLOOD. Some of them took to installing floodlights around their ranches, hoping to either scare it off or actually catch it on camera. The footage itself is not super clear. I mean, it's taken from very far away, but you can definitely see this dark, hunched shape in the center of the frame, motionless at first, then shifting, almost like it realizes the drone is watching and scurries away. Imagine strolling on a Long Island beach and finding this thing washed up on the shore. Well, in July of 2008, a woman named Jenna Hewitt and two friends were walking along Ditch Plains Beach in Montauk when they came across this bloated, hairless corpse with a weird beak-like snout and long limbs. Jenna's friend Christina snapped the infamous photo, and the image blew up online within days. People couldn't figure out what it was. Some thought it was some kind of deformed raccoon, maybe a sea turtle without its shell, and of course, some people immediately jumped to secret government experiments. That's because this was pretty close to the old Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Some people were saying that maybe it escaped from some shady lab over there. No one ever officially confirmed what it was. To this day, people still argue about whether it was just a decomposed raccoon or maybe something else. Apparently, this next piece of footage was taken somewhere in Bolivia on April 20th of 2020. The video starts off pretty normal. You see a nice view of the trees, you hear birds in the background, but then you notice it. There's something hovering in the sky. It's not a bird, there's no flapping of wings, plus it's way too big to be a bird anyway. It's certainly not a plane. The object seems to just drift downward, slowly making its way toward the trees before finally vanishing into the tree line. Now, what could it be? A drone? Well, the object is far away, but still pretty easy to make out. This would have to be a pretty sizable drone, right? Well, I don't know. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments. In October of 2024, staff at the Bristol Zoo project were going through footage from their night vision camera traps when they found something really strange. In the middle of Bear Wood, a 7.5-acre enclosure where bears, wolves, wolverines, and lynxes roam, the cameras picked up a strange four-legged creature. It had what looked like wings and horns. Obviously, none of the zoo's animals matched it. And for weeks, people had been saying something strange was moving between the trees. Even the animals seemed spooked. Wolves and wolverines don't usually pay much attention to the usual wildlife like deer, but this time they did. They seemed spooked by something. Well, they still have no idea what this creature was. Some people think it's just a deer caught in like a weird angle, maybe with motion blur making the ears look kind of like wings, but others think maybe Bristol now has its own local legend. Well, it's not often we get news about Nessie, but here we are. Just back in January, something strange showed up on one of the live webcams overlooking Loch Ness. A regular visitor named Andy caught it moving near the shore, heading towards Sherry Island, then turning around and slipping back out into deeper water before vanishing. He said it was cruising along for a few minutes between 4:41 and 4:48 in the afternoon. Andy's been coming to Loch Ness since the late 80s. He's familiar with the environment and normal wildlife around the loch, but this was something else. The group that runs the webcam, Loch Ness Exploration, said the footage was worth sharing because it wasn't just another random wave or boat ripple. Whatever the thing was, it looked pretty big, and this isn't the first time. In August of 2023, an Irish Nessie fan named Owen O'Fadigan spotted something on a webcam as well. He described seeing a large black hump that popped up, moved across the water, then dipped back under as a boat got close. Owen said fish do not have wakes. The movement was uncharacteristic of a seal or an otter. Only the Loch Ness Monster is the obvious choice. What you're looking at here is a sonar image taken at Loch Ness. On September 22nd, 2024, a skipper named Sean Sloggy was out on Loch Ness doing his usual rounds when something strange popped up on his sonar screen. Sean's been working these waters for years, but he's never seen anything quite like this. The strangeness of it was chilling. It's the sort of thing that leaves you speechless, he said. Sean was with maritime pilot Liam Mackenzie that day, just getting ready for another boat to arrive, when the sonar suddenly lit up. There was a massive object sitting about 320 feet down. Sean's used to spotting all kinds of weird fish and shapes on sonar, but this thing was massive. The shape looked long and stretched out, and Sean noticed there were what seemed like air pockets inside, something you wouldn't normally see with regular fish or logs even. They tried to circle back and find it again, but whatever it was had completely disappeared. We're not sonar experts, but I've never seen anything like it, Sean went on to say. In October of 2015, a man named Dave Black was driving near a golf course in Little Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, when he saw something that looked like a deer or maybe a llama walking along, but Then it suddenly sprouted wings and flew off into the trees. Dave managed to snap a quick blurry photo on his phone though, and sure enough there was this dark creature with big wings and what looked like hooves dangling beneath it. Dave had no idea what he was looking at. And when news of the photo came out, he stuck to his story, insisting that he was not trying to mess with anyone, that he really saw it and had no explanation. The photo blew up online and got everyone in New Jersey talking about the Jersey Devil again, a legendary winged creature that's supposedly haunted the Pine Barrens since the 1700s. Back in November of 2007, a Fresno homeowner known only as Jose to the media got spooked by his dogs barking at night, and he checked his security camera footage. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. The video shows this tall, skinny white figure gliding across his lawn, almost like living pants. There's no arms or torso, it's just long legs carrying a rounded quote-unquote head on top. Jose was pretty freaked. He woke his brother, saved the clip by pointing a camcorder at his monitor because the system would overwrite the footage. The story blew up after he shared it with Univision, and paranormal investigators also got involved. Even the History Channel covered it as part of fact or faked paranormal files and called it unexplainable. Then in 2011, similar footage was captured at Yosemite National Park showing two of these things together. One smaller, one larger. No one's ever figured out what they were. They're simply known as Fresno nightcrawlers. In February of 2012, farmer Pyotr Cherov, I don't know if I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I couldn't find a video of anyone pronouncing it online. Well, anyway, he's an elderly farmer. He set up a camera by a river feeding Lake Lagerflot in East Iceland. He ended up with some pretty crazy footage that's gone on to become the best possible video evidence of the mythical Icelandic lake monster known as the Lagerflot worm. The video shows what looks like a serpentine creature drifting just under the icy water, maybe 30 to 90 feet long. The clip went viral around the world, even prompting a local panel to vote 7-6 that it was real and awarded him with a small cash prize. The Lagerflot worm's been part of Icelandic folklore since the 14th century. Said to be this massive lake monster, sometimes said to be longer than a football field. Van Laird made several low passes while Kent rushed to get a photo. He managed one single shot before they were forced to leave, running low on fuel. The last thing they wanted to do was land near that massive serpent. All four men estimated the snake at about 14 meters long, or around 45 feet. It sounded ridiculous, but locals already had a specific name for snakes that big. Normal pythons were called moma, but giants like this were known as pumina. One settler had reportedly run into one years earlier along a nearby railway line. Years later, Van Laird said the head lifted several feet and claimed that if they'd gone any lower, it could have struck the helicopter. This is known as the Corfu Island creature, sometimes called the Grecian dolphin. It was first mentioned in 2015 after this strange photo started spreading online, taken off the coast of Greece. We see what looks like some sort of dolphin-like thing breaking the surface, but it's obviously not a normal-looking dolphin. The photo was taken near Parga by a Scottish tourist named Harvey Robertson. He was on a boat tour with his family, drifting through the sea caves, just trying to photograph the usual green color of the water. He didn't notice anything strange at the time, but later, while looking through his phone, he realized he'd caught something. In one photo, a gray shape rises out of the water. In the next, it's gone. Robertson said it looked like an elongated manatee. Some people just call this one a hoax, of course. Others think it may have actually been a real creature though, some sort of mutated animal. There's also another theory that this could be a surviving Ambulocetus, an extinct ancestor of whales. Here's some more well-known Sasquatch footage. Help, I think I saw a skunk ape. On October 28th, 2013, a Mississippi hunter named Josh Highcliffe uploaded an unsettling video to his YouTube channel. According to him, the footage was taken just west of Tunica, Mississippi. What he caught on camera looked like a large, dark, bipedal creature crouched low and almost hidden inside what appeared to be a hollow tree stump. At first, Highcliffe didn't think much of it, saying, "Initially, I thought it was a pig. Then I noticed these broad shoulders and a head held high with its hands. There was this huge black monster crouching near a dead cypress tree about 50 meters away. I immediately got scared and wanted to run away. I didn't even think about shooting. However, as soon as I realized that nobody would believe me, I felt like time had stopped. So he pulled out his phone and started recording, but then it stood up. And as it rose, it was suddenly clear how big this thing actually was. That's when Highcliffe panicked and took off. This series of images have become some of the most infamous sea monster photographs in history, aside from the Nessie photo we've all seen 600 times. Back in December 1964, a Frenchman named Robert Laseric was crossing Stonehaven Bay near Hook Island, Queensland, with his wife, kids, and his first mate. They just bought a motorboat and were basically living island life for a few months. While drifting over a shallow lagoon, Laseric's wife noticed something sitting on the bottom. It was massive, dark shape, stretched out and completely still. Laseric later described it as around 30 feet long, shaped like a giant tadpole. Smooth skin, no fins, no spines, no visible teeth, mostly black with faint stripes. Everyone on board thought it was dead, long enough that they actually got into the water to try and film it. And that's when it moved. As Laseric approached with the camera, the creature opened its mouth and started gliding toward them. They bolted back to the boat, and by the time they regrouped, the animal was gone. Photos of the creature spread in newspapers and magazines and quickly became infamous. Were these genuine images of an unknown sea creature, or was it just a case of clever angles? Or plastic sheets shaped and weighted underwater? Some said it may have been a giant swamp eel, but those rarely exceed 5 feet. And finally, we come to the undisputed king of unexplained creatures captured clearly on camera, the Patterson-Gimlin Sasquatch footage. Yes, it's been talked about to death, but not by me. This is actually the first time I've talked about the footage on this channel, which is impressive considering how many Bigfoot videos I've done. What can I say? This is still the best piece of video evidence we have for the creature. The camera is steady. We get a nice long shot of it walking across an open stretch of land. There's no trees blocking the view. It's not captured from too far away. There's just a reason why this is not just the best Bigfoot footage ever captured, but the best cryptid footage in general. There's still debate to this day as to how authentic this is. I've heard convincing arguments on either side, and it's really the continuing conversation surrounding this footage that's kept this one alive. People have analyzed every frame of this video, examining the creature's odd gait, what looks like a muscle moving under the fur. Hoax or not, it's a damn intriguing piece of footage, and that's why it's at the top of this list. What you're looking at here is known as the Marvin the Monster footage. It was actually lost media for a long time, but it resurfaced about 8 months ago. The story behind it is that in the early 60s, Shell Oil was using an underwater robot called Mobot to scan the seafloor off the coast of Santa Barbara, looking for oil deposits. During one of those runs, usually dated to February 1961 or 1962, the robot's camera picked up something very strange. Floating in the water was this large creature that didn't dart away or vanish after a few seconds. It stayed in view for more than an hour, slowly moving in a very specific spiral pattern. The thing didn't swim like a fish or drift like debris. It rotated and coiled in on itself over and over. Scientists who looked at the footage thought it might be some kind of colonial sea creature, which is basically a single organism made up of lots of tiny connected animals that kind of live and move together. But that was just an educated guess. We still don't really know what this thing was. The full recording was never officially released. Only fragments and isolated frames still exist. In 2000, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office received 2 anonymous photos showing a large, hairy, ape-like creature. The letter that came with them was from an elderly woman who'd been noticing apples disappearing from her back porch. She claimed she snapped the pictures after spotting this creature, worried it might be an escaped orangutan. The images quickly earned the nickname Mayaka skunk ape and are still some of the clearest images ever taken of not just the skunk ape, but any Bigfoot-like creature, in my opinion. At the time, a bunch of skeptics pointed out that the creature looks similar to a Bigfoot statue that used to be displayed at a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, but looking at that statue, yeah, it's a pretty weak comparison. I mean, they're both hairy, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. Reports of the skunk ape go back to 1929, and there are still reports to this day. Since 2010, sightings have been recorded in 48 out of Florida's 67 counties. Back in 2022, a man named Henry Hayes was out jogging in Merrickville, Sydney, when he came across whatever the hell this thing is. It was sitting on the street after days of heavy rain. In Harry's own words, "My gut says it's some kind of embryo, but with the pandemic, World War III, and the floods going on right now, this could very well be an alien," end quote. He grabbed his phone and started poking the tiny creature with a stick. It didn't move at all. He posted the video to Instagram. Some people guessed it was a shark embryo or a mutated tadpole. Others agreed with the alien theory, but even biologists were puzzled by the thing. Elia Lisa, a zoologist, posted the pic herself saying, "Hey world, what is this thing? I thought possum/glider embryo, but I have no context or scale and none of my peers can agree. What is this? Hashtag mystery blob." And to this day, we still have no definitive explanation. This video comes from 2001, but it was shared online in April of 2006. I remember watching it in the very early days of YouTube. It was one of the first supposed Bigfoot videos I watched aside from the Patterson-Gimlin footage. And if you're looking for a creature caught clearly on camera, well, this is better than 90% of the Bigfoot caught on camera videos you'll find all over the internet. And it looks pretty convincing. The fur doesn't look like something you'd see on a cheap costume, and there's shape to the creature, and what looks like visible muscle under the fur. The footage was captured by a man named Harley Hoffman, who kind of went off the radar not too long after this video hit the web. Does that mean he hoaxed the whole thing and just didn't want to keep up the lie? Is the footage genuine, but he just had a hard time handling all the attention? Who knows, but when it comes to Sasquatch footage, this is still one of my favorite clips. This piece of footage was captured at a home in North Carolina. The video was posted to Reddit by Whole Negotiation 1843. The homeowners were terrified when they got a notification from their home security camera. They were expecting maybe a raccoon or something, but when they saw this pale, spindly thing, they immediately called the cops. As for what to report, well, at first they thought it was some naked dude crawling through the yard, but it didn't take them long to realize this thing did not look human. As for what it was then, the case has yet to be solved. So this is a photograph of a snake, of course, I mean, big deal. But the thing is, this image was supposedly captured from a helicopter. Here it is zoomed out. In August 1959, a Belgian military helicopter was heading back toward Kamina, flying over the Katanga region in what's now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. On board were pilot Colonel Remy Van Laird, along with 3 other men. One was an engineer named Adjutant Kint, who had his camera on him. From roughly 400 feet up, 2 of the men spotted something near a wrecked termite mound that looked like a fallen tree trunk. The problem was, it was moving. By the time they got Van Laird's attention, they'd already flown past it. So Van Laird turned the helicopter around and dropped lower. And that's when it became clear they were not looking at wood. It was a massive snake. Up next, we have the skunk ape. Oh boy, do I love the skunk ape. The skunk ape is a legendary cryptid that is mostly seen in Florida, but there have also been numerous sightings in Texas and a couple other states. This creature is similar to Bigfoot, but it is said to have a distinct odor, hence the name, and it also likes hanging around swamps. That's where most apes tend to hang out in nature. Many people have claimed to have seen this elusive creature, and some even have photographic evidence to support their claims. In 2000, a series of photos surfaced taken by a woman on her back porch that showed what appeared to be a skunk ape walking through a swampy area, and I have always loved these photos. Yes, it could definitely be an escaped orangutan or something, but it's pretty freaky nonetheless, and if it is a costume, which I really don't think it is, it's got to be a pretty damn good one. The photos were taken in Florida, but it's not surprising that there have been sightings in Texas as well. After all, Texas is a vast state with plenty of forests and wilderness areas where a creature like the skunk ape could hide. Despite the many sightings and alleged evidence, there are still skeptics who don't believe in the existence of skunk ape, but for those who have seen it or have smelt its distinctive odor, there's no denying there is something strange and mysterious lurking in the swamps and woods, Florida and Texas. The black-eyed children. Black-eyed children are a mysterious and creepy phenomenon that have captivated the attention of paranormal enthusiasts for years. The supposed sightings involve encountering children with completely black eyes, just no sclera in there, and they seem to appear out of nowhere and ask to be let into people's homes or vehicles. Sometimes they ask you to help them with a small favor, but their true intentions are sinister because they have pure black eyes. Some people believe these children are demonic or extraterrestrial in origin, while others believe they are simply a creepy urban legend. The first written account of the black-eyed children, or at least the most famous, came from Texas reporter Brian Bethel in 1996. Bethel shared his experience of encountering two children with completely black eyes while sitting in his car. Since Bethel's account, numerous reports of black-eyed children have emerged, with many claiming to have reported feeling a sense of dread and unease when encountering these mysterious rascals. And I think I know why people feel a little off seeing these kids. Their eyes are pure black. That would do it for me. The Beast of Bears. The Beast of Bears is a cryptid that is said to roam the wilds of Texas, resembling a large, scarred-up bear with missing patches of fur. It's rumored to live near swamps, adding to the creature's mysterious allure. Some even say that it has gills, making it a truly unique and peculiar creature. What kind of bizarre mashup of things is this? Goatman apparently has gills too, so why are all these big hairy Texas monsters also aquatic? Anyway, the Beast of Bears also boasts large red eyes like those of the Mothman, which only adds to the intrigue surrounding this cryptid. The first sighting of the Beast of Bears was in 1973 at a camping spot near the town of Alice, Texas. Since then, over 31 sightings have been reported, with the most recent being in a backyard outside Crestview, Florida. However, the Beast of Bears is most closely associated with Texas. Many reports of sightings coming from various parts of the state. Despite skeptics dismissing the Beast of Bears as a hoax, there is evidence to suggest that the creature may be real. Even a drawing of the creature suggests that it may be found not only in Texas, but also up in Canada. Some have even linked the Beast of Bears to Inuit stories about giant bears that drag people underwater and eat them. And coming in at number 2, the Lake Worth Monster. The Lake Worth Monster, also known as the famous Goatman, is a cryptid that has long captivated the attention of Texans. Sightings of the creature began in the summer of 1969, when a group of people reported encountering a strange half-man, half-goat-like creature near Lake Worth, just outside of Fort Worth. Descriptions of the creature vary, but most witnesses report seeing a towering, hairy beast with a goat's head, cloven hooves, and the ability to leap great distances. Some descriptions of the strange beast, and some even describe it as having fishy scales all over its body, which don't seem to fit. But anyway, over the course of several weeks, the creature was allegedly sighted by numerous individuals, leading to a media frenzy and an increased public interest in the elusive creature. One article, written by reporter Jim Mars, was written with the, I gotta say, hilarious headline, "Fishy man-goat terrifies couple parked at Lake Worth." Love that. Some locals claimed the creature was aggressive, throwing car tires and rocks at those who stumbled upon it, while others reported it simply observing them from a distance. And finally, we have the NASA gargoyle. There have been multiple sightings of this mysterious creature, but the first reported sighting, and definitely the most famous, was from NASA employee Frank Shaw, who worked in Houston's Johnson Space Center. Shaw had reported walking back to his car after his shift and spotted what looked to be a large, winged, jet-black humanoid creature perched on one of the Space Center's buildings. Suddenly, it started unfurling its wings, which apparently made this awful crackling sound, and then it just swooped into the air. I'm picturing the creature from Jeepers Creepers here, so not pleasant. Shaw had been completely stunned, frozen in fear at the sight of whatever this beast was, but suddenly kind of snapped out of it as soon as the thing flew into the air and started making his way back to his car, where in classic horror movie fashion, he struggled to get his keys into the door. I'm picturing him just kind of like dropping them a couple times. But he finally got into his car and just flew out of there. Here's what's really interesting about this incident though. Apparently there were other employees at the station who had also had encounters with the winged monstrosity. Apparently there had been a file opened on the creature just a few months before Shaw saw it, after 2 German shepherds at the station had been found completely mutilated in the same area as Shaw's sighting. So That's pretty interesting. In the vast, untamed wilderness of Texas, whispers of a fearsome creature known as the Wampus Cat have echoed through the ages. Countless locals hailing from remote towns and ranches claim to have encountered this enigmatic cryptid, leaving an indelible mark on the region's folklore. Descriptions of the Wampus Cat vary, but a common thread weaves throughout. It's a creature with the body of a monstrous feline, possessing sleek black fur that glistens under the moonlight. Its piercing, glowing eyes pierce through the darkness, striking fear into the hearts of those who dare to gaze upon it. As diverse as the Lone Star State itself, some say the Wampus Cat prowls silently in the dense pine forests of East Texas, emitting blood-curdling cries that reverberate through the night. Others claim to have witnessed the creature sprinting across open plains, leaving behind a trail of shattered trees and trampled earth. The bravest souls speak of unsettling encounters near secluded water sources where the Wampus Cat is said to drink, its presence sending wildlife scattering in terror. Those who have encountered the Wampus Cat speak of an uncanny primal energy emanating from the creature. Its presence is said to invoke an inexplicable sense of dread, as if crossing paths with an otherworldly force deeply rooted in the untamed heart of Texas. Whether the Wampus Cat is an embodiment of ancient Native American legends or a creature yet to be fully understood, we still don't know. Number 9, the Chupacabra. The Chupacabra is a legendary creature that has gained notoriety throughout the world. Sightings reported across Latin America, the United States. The creature is described as having a reptilian or canine-like appearance with large fangs and a pronounced spine along its back. It's said to prey on livestock, draining their blood and leaving behind a trail of carnage. One of the most famous encounters occurred in Texas, however, when a woman named Phyllis Canyon discovered what she believed to be the remains of the creature on the side of a road. Canyon was initially skeptical of reports of the Chupacabra, but was pretty convinced of its existence after discovering this bizarre carcass. She had also found several of her chickens dead on her property around the time she found this strange animal. Canyon's discovery sparked quite a media frenzy, with reports and cryptid enthusiasts from around the world jumping in excitement. While some skeptics dismissed the creature as a coyote or other known animal, Canyon maintained that its appearance was unlike anything she had ever seen before, and it definitely could be some sort of wild dog with mange or something, but either way, pretty gnarly looking animal. In 2001, a 19-year-old driving in Pennsylvania reported seeing a bird-like creature with a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet, and it had an elongated head. 2 other witnesses later reported seeing similar creatures in the same area, and all of this was very reminiscent of sightings in Texas in 1976 and 82 that were also described as looking sort of like an ancient pterosaur. These sightings in Texas occurred near the location where the fossil of a large pterosaur was first discovered. And what was most fascinating about these sightings were that they seemed to have occurred close together in waves. So it seems like people were really seeing something. One possible explanation could be the frigate bird, which can have a wingspan of up to 8 feet. Frigate birds tend to soar for long periods and only land to tend to their young. At number 7, we have Sasquatch, because these things are everywhere, apparently. Everyone has their own version of this big hairy beast. So look, Sasquatch needs no introduction, but I'm gonna give the big hairy lug one anyway. The Sasquatch, or Bigfoot, as he's commonly known, is basically the ultimate celebrity cryptid. Everyone knows who he is, but nobody has actually seen him in person, or have they? Apparently, Texas is home to many Bigfoot sightings. It seems that he's been spotted more than a few times wandering around in the woods. Some people claim that he's up to 10 feet tall, because everything is bigger in Texas, covered in hair, and smells like a wet dog. Others say that he's more of a gentle giant who just wants to be left alone. All I know is there really are Bigfoot roaming around in the wilderness of Texas. They gotta be just sweltering hot with all that fur. The legend of the Donkey Lady of San Antonio is a famous Texas urban legend. According to the legend, the Donkey Lady is a half-human, half-donkey creature that roams the area. Some say she was once a beautiful woman who was tragically burned and disfigured in a fire. Some say she was thrown in a river with her pet donkey and now haunts the Elm Creek Bridge. Some claim to have actually seen her, and it's a tale that's been passed down from generation to generation. And who knows, maybe there's some truth to it. I mean, if you squint your eyes while looking at a donkey long enough, it sort of looks like a person, right? And if you've ever heard a donkey braying in the middle of the night, not hard to imagine it could be some sort of supernatural creature. Then again, maybe the donkey lady is just a misunderstood animal, human hybrid who's just trying to find her place in the world. Now, I want you to imagine, if you will, that you're out in the woods on a hike, alone. You spot what looks like something poking out behind a tree. It's dark, you can't really make it out. Is it part of the tree, you ask yourself? You're afraid to get any closer, unsure if it's a wild animal, but the longer you look, the clearer it becomes. It's not an animal. It's some sort of humanoid shape, but shadowy and perfectly silent, and it's staring at you. No more walks in the forest for me. This next video popped up on Reddit a few years ago. It was filmed in Louisiana. A few guys are recording some deer grazing in a field, but then out of the tree line comes this thing. At first glance, it almost looks like it's galloping, but it's definitely not a horse. Doesn't move like a human either, though. First of all, it's super fast, large, and its front limbs are insanely long. Whether this is something explainable or not, it is definitely a weird clip. This footage comes from Todd Standing, a guy who's pretty well known in the Bigfoot community for some of the more famous alleged sightings out there. According to him, this video shows his first close-up encounter with one of the creatures. After it walked away, Todd and some of his team went up the cliff to check out just how big it might have been, and from what they could tell, it looked like the thing could have been well over 8 feet tall. The footage got enough attention that it even showed up in an episode of Finding Bigfoot. On the show, they tried to recreate the scene by having one of the bigger guys on the team stand on that same ledge to see how he compared. The creature in Todd's video was noticeably taller and bulkier than the guy they used for comparison. And most of us have seen this footage, and for good reason. Unlike so many supposed Bigfoot videos, we get a good long look at this creature, much like the Patterson-Gimlin footage. And on top of that, this version of the creature looks a lot like the one in that infamous film from 1967. The footage was captured on Independence Day in 2013. What also stood out to people about this video is that the creature appears to be carrying an infant. Can't say I've ever seen that before. Doesn't mean it's not a hoax, but it does mean they put in some extra effort if it is. Some people think it's just a good quality suit. Some think it looks super legit, commenting on the creature's gait and how convincing the fur is. But what do you all think of this one, as well as the rest of the entries on this list? Share your thoughts down in the comments below. And familiar with the outdoors and said the photos didn't look staged or hoax. Chase never claimed he knew exactly what he saw, just that it didn't look like another hiker or snowshoer. And the BFRO noted that the silhouette didn't have clear clothing lines or, a pack that you'd expect to see on someone up there in the deep snow. But what really makes these images impressive is that whatever this figure is, it's big, really big. Check this out. Another thing they did was scale tests. So they tried comparing the figure in the photo to what a normal human would look like in the same spot, taking into account the slope and distance, and look how much larger the figure in the original photos is compared to what an average-sized hiker looks like. Even the folks from the show Finding Bigfoot came back with Chase a few times to the same ridge, checking the angles and taking measurements. It'd be easy to assume a video like this is AI, but this footage was captured in 2009. I couldn't find a whole lot of information on this footage, but apparently it was captured in Smuggler's Notch, a mountain pass in Vermont. It's gotta be one of the strangest looking cryptid videos I've ever seen. It almost looks like it has the hind legs of a horse and like the torso and head of a wolf. Is this some really well done VFX, someone in a very convincing suit, or genuine footage of some unknown creature? Let us know what you think down below. This footage comes from cryptozoologist Paul Freeman, who's still considered one of the most respected names in the Bigfoot community. He shot this video in the Blue Mountains of Northeast Oregon in 1994, and it's often called one of the best Bigfoot videos ever captured. Freeman wasn't just known for video, though. He also made plaster casts of tracks he claimed were from Bigfoot. Those casts got a lot of attention because they showed dermal ridges, which is something you'd see on a real foot. Anthropologist Jeff Meldrum from Idaho State University studied them and considered them some of the most credible evidence out there. As for this video, is it real or a hoax? People still debate it. Could go either way. But unlike so many distant or blurry sightings, we do get a glimpse of a face here. It's not perfect, but you can kind of get a sense of what the creature might look like, which is why it's so frequently cited in discussions about Bigfoot evidence. I'm sure most of you have seen this image before. It's probably the most famous photo of a supposed sea monster aside from Nessie. The picture was taken at Lake Champlain, a freshwater lake between New York and Vermont, known for a legendary creature called Champ, sometimes called Champy. The first recorded sightings go way back. People have been reporting strange things in the water for hundreds and hundreds of years, but the piece of evidence most people talk about is a photograph taken on July 5th, 1977, by a woman named Sandra Mancy. On a summer day, Sandra and her family were near the northern Vermont shore when her kids were wading in the shallow bay. About 150 feet out, she suddenly saw something rise up from the water. It had a long neck, a head, and a hump, all visible for several minutes before disappearing again. Sandra grabbed her Kodak camera and managed to snap a single shot before the thing disappeared back under the water. That image, now one of the most famous lake monster photos ever published, appears to show part of a creature with a dark head, a curved neck, and a back breaking the surface of the lake. Over the years, hundreds of people have claimed to see something unusual in Lake Champlain. Ripples, humps, and shapes moving just under the surface. But this photo is still seen as one of the best pieces of visual evidence that keeps believers coming back to the lake each summer. So this next guy spotted something perched on top of a dead tree in his backyard. He thought it was a cat at first, but when he looked harder at it, he realized it wasn't like any cat he'd ever seen before. So he pulled out his phone to get a closer look, and this is what he captured. Now, he says in the video it's a monkey, which is possible. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a monkey expert. There aren't many monkeys roaming around here in Canada, but this thing doesn't really look like a monkey to me. Looks kind of like a cat-goat hybrid, gargoyle type creature. One person in the comments said, bro, it's a cat skull emoji. Apparently, you just can't be Gen Z without peppering in a bro and or skull emoji. Alternatively, you can add a crying laughing emoji as well. In the summer of 2000, Jim Mills, a youth leader with a passion for the great outdoors, organized a trip to Marble Mountain for a group of young campers. But as they hiked deeper into the wilderness, surrounded by the trees and the sounds of nature, none of them could have predicted what they were about to see. During one of their hikes, as the group ascended a ridge, they noticed something in the distance. It was this large, dark figure stood on a ridge in the distance, seemingly watching them. The figure's size and posture immediately caught the attention of Mills, who quickly grabbed his video camera and started to film. The footage shows this tall creature walking upright along the ridge. There was an ease about its strides, as if it were perfectly familiar with the rough terrain, and judging by the footage and how far away the camera was, the creature looks to stand around 7 or 8 feet tall. Throughout the video, you hear Mills remarking on how long the thing's arms are, and whatever it was, it seemed agitated. Can't hear it very well on camera, but the group said it appeared to be yelling at them while aggressively waving its arms at times, as if to scare them away. This series of photos were posted to Reddit a couple weeks back by SnakeTree1911, who wrote, I work as a land steward in the northeastern part of the US. Part of my job is reviewing images taken by our game cams. We recently pulled a cam from a fairly remote area, which hasn't been checked in a long time. These images caught my eye. None of the naturalists on our staff could ID this thing. I'm not sure if I believe in cryptids or whatever, but I don't know what this thing is. It's not a deer, it certainly isn't a bobcat, and if it's a black bear, it's the biggest one I've ever seen. I included a daytime photo so you can see that it's not just some weird shaped rock or whatever. I don't know, let me know what you think. And I will pose that same question to all you fine people watching. What do you think? Did a fisherman just capture footage of the real-life gill man? Apparently a guy was fishing near Barnegat Bay in eastern New Jersey when he saw something poke its head out of the water. He had no idea what he was looking at. The more he looked at it, the thing just kept rising and rising until the whole upper half of its body was out of the water, and it was clear that this was not your ordinary animal. I mean, yikes. How'd you like to be swimming in the water with this thing? I gotta say, this creature looks pretty convincing. Definitely gives me the ick, but there are a couple fun comments that I wanna mention as well. One person says, this is BS. If anyone saw that, they'd run, not record for 3 minutes, which, you know, fair enough. I can see where they're coming from there, but someone else responded, "It's called a stare down. The person out of fear and the frog out of confusion. Hence the term scared stiff." Also a good point, but I really just love that they called this thing a frog. And also someone else commented, "This is what happens when people stop eating frog legs." People just love calling this guy a frog. I don't know what frogs you people are looking at, but anyway. This next clip was shared by Sunny Vader on YouTube. The footage was captured by campers in Clearwater County, Alberta last month. The uploader had been tearing down their camp when they spotted this large, dark figure lurking in the trees nearby. He managed to quietly capture the thing on camera before it made its way back into the woods. They probably thought it was a bear at first, but after zooming in on the thing with the camera, they probably immediately changed their mind. It seems to be standing upright. Not that bears can't do that, but they usually won't for very long. It looks to me like this is a massive, hairy ape man spying on a couple hikers in the woods. On March 21st, something strange was spotted floating low over the rooftops in Saladin, Iraq, and yes, there's video of it. So as you can see, this strange object has a very odd shape. It looks like you took a flying saucer and then made it vertical. It almost looks like Boba Fett's Slave One from Star Wars. It also looks like it has these long trailing tendrils like a jellyfish, not like any drone I've ever seen. The object drifted smoothly over the buildings and a local managed to capture it on camera. The clip quickly spread online, just another piece of video to add to the growing list of UFO sightings this year. People who saw it described it as otherworldly and eerily silent. Some think it might be high-tech military equipment, others think this may actually be proof of something not from this world. But what do you all think? Now, stepping away from frogmen, aliens, and Sasquatch for a moment, let's talk about some mysterious jellyfish that were spotted just a few months back. The video shows two types of jellyfish that no one's ever seen before. At least ones that haven't been documented by science. The footage comes from researchers at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. First up is this one here. A very bizarre looking creature. It's so hard to make sense of. It's just so different from anything we see day to day here on land. Almost looks like it belongs in space. As one of the researchers said while filming the thing though, "I've never seen one of those. Have you?" And then another researcher's like, "Nope." They also captured footage of this smaller jellyfish. NOAA scientists couldn't identify this one either. Both were found during a deep sea dive off the northeastern coast of the US near Newport, Rhode Island. We see so many supposed videos of Bigfoot, but barely ever any dogman videos. Well, that all changes today. This dashcam footage comes out of Bladensboro, North Carolina. A man drove up to his property late at night when he got the fright of his life. Some big hairy creature had been lurking just outside his home, but his headlights hit it and the thing scuttled off into the trees. Not in the most graceful manner, I must add. This dogman is rather dainty in its movements, does this kind of toddler hop as it moves away. It can't be too hard on Dogman though. He's not as used to being in the spotlight, always being outshined by the ever so famous Sasquatch.